Welcome to this Thursday's edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. It was former U.S. President Thomas Jefferson who said nothing can stop the man with the right mental attitude from achieving his goal, and nothing on earth can help the man with the wrong mental attitude. Words to motivate our students going into the new school year and for us adults as we take on the challenges of life. In this half hour, we'll take you through some back-to-school preparations and hear from persons who have pledged allegiance to Jamaica. It's an information-packed show, so stay with us.
Jamaicans, drivers, passengers, motorcyclists, and pedestrians, slow down. Observe the rules of the road. Be courteous. Drive defensively. Be considerate. Buckle up. Wear a helmet. The careless overtaker is only rushing to the undertaker. Not observing the rules of the road could cost you your life and that of your loved ones. I encourage all road users to take special care as we use public thoroughfares. The life you save may be your own. Remember, your family wants you to arrive alive.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, August 30. The central bank is reporting that the Jamaican economy continues to show signs of moderate recovery. GDP growth is estimated to have accelerated in the range of 1 to 2% in the June 2018 quarter, compared to just 0.1% growth at the same time last year. Bank of Jamaica Governor Brian Winter says this reflects improvement in net external demand, increases in investment, and some growth in private consumption. The bank is projecting a modest acceleration in real GDP growth over the next 2 years, though this is expected to remain below the BOJ's estimate of the economy's capacity or potential for growth.
Real GDP growth is projected to expand at an average quarterly growth rate of 1.5% to 2.5% over the next 8 quarters.
Labor market conditions also continue to improve, with unemployment falling to 9.7% at April 2018, reflecting annual growth of 14,700 new jobs and a decline in the labor force. Jamaica's net international reserves are also healthy, and balance of payments are projected to remain at sustainable levels. Meanwhile, the Bank of Jamaica is holding its policy interest rate unchanged at 2%. This is the rate offered on overnight placements with the bank. BOJ Governor Brian Winter says the decision was influenced by its updated assessment for inflation to continue rising towards the lower end of the 4 to 6% target by the March 2019 quarter and subsequently approach the middle of that target range. Annual point-to-point inflation at June 2018 was 2.8% and rose to 3.2% at July. Mr. Winter says the decision to maintain the policy rate was also influenced by signs of a pickup in the rate of expansion in private sector credit.
Credit extended by deposit-taking institutions to private sector businesses and individuals grew at an annual rate of 15.9% at June 2018. That compares to 13.9% at March 2018 and 12.4% at June a year ago.
Mr. Winter says the bank will closely monitor these credit conditions and make further cuts to the policy rate if required. In the meantime, he is insisting that the central bank is not manipulating the exchange rate in an effort to influence an increase in inflation back towards its target range of 4 to 6%.
It would be to do the exact opposite of the explicitly stated objectives of the B-Fix-It mechanism that was introduced in July 2017, last year, and it would violate the well-established commitment of the government to a flexible, market-determined exchange rate. We have not been doing that. We are not now doing that, and we will not do that.
Mr. Winter made the assertion on Wednesday during the BOJ's quarterly Monetary Policy Report press briefing. Cabinet approval has been given to purchase land on the Nuttall Memorial Hospital property to relocate the Crossroads Tax Office. The land is worth $229 million and will accommodate other offices of the Tax Administration Jamaica, TAJ. Information Minister Senator Ruel Reid gave the update during Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing. He also disclosed that Cabinet had approved the acquisition of 9 acres of land at Morgan's Harbour.
This has been done for the development of Port Royal by the Port Authority of Jamaica and the Urban Development Corporation. This will be undertaken by the National Land Agency, utilizing the provisions of the Land Acquisition Act, and community consultations have been ongoing in respect of this proposed development.
As he gave updates on Cabinet activities, Senator Reid also disclosed that preparations were advanced for the hosting of the first Caribbean International Bamboo Symposium. The November 27 to 28 event is to be staged at the Jamaica Conference Center.
Cabinet has taken note that bamboo, one of the world's fastest growing plants and a rapidly renewing source of fiber, is recognized as a multiple purpose non-timber forestry resource, which is observed as supportive of value chains across the world, worth approximately $60 million per year.
Mr. Reid says Jamaica, through its involvement with the International Network for Bamboo and Rattan, hopes to initiate a region-wide program on bamboo. The minister added that the island, through the conference, would be exploring bamboo packaging as an alternative to styrofoam. The first ever shipment of live lobsters from Jamaica to Shenzhen, China, left the island on Tuesday at the Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay. The export of Jamaican aquatic products are being facilitated by a memorandum of understanding that was signed by then Fisheries Minister Carl Samuda and representatives from China last September. This shipment of 2,000 live lobsters was organized by Rainforest Seafood in collaboration with other licensed fishermen. Minister Audley Shaw says this new market will provide fishermen with 2 to 3 times more revenue per pound for lobster than they receive for only selling the tail.
We have found a market in China where they want the lobsters live. Okay, they want the market the lobsters live. So we get a chance now to, instead of shipping lobster tails, we get to ship the lobster alive.
24 Cuban educators have been recruited to teach at the primary, secondary, and tertiary levels for the 2018-2019 academic year. They have joined 48 teachers who are currently serving within the education sector and are recruited under a cooperation agreement that was signed with the Cuban government in 1997.
We're happy that we will have support in the areas of Spanish, mathematics, physics, chemistry, biochemistry, agricultural science, Spanish science, integrated science, physical education, and biology.
The Education Ministry's permanent secretary was speaking at an orientation session for the new cohort of Cuban teachers on Tuesday. He said the ministry was particularly grateful that the program was helping to achieve the objectives outlined in its language policy. And finally, the National Water Commission, NWC, says there should not be any major water-related issues at next week's start of the school year. While about 20% of its water supply systems are being impacted by drought conditions, the NWC says a number of special measures have been put in place to reduce the impact on schools. Coming out of a meeting with the Education Ministry, it has been agreed that schools will be prioritized for water trucking where necessary. Institutions more likely to face disruption in their water supply have been identified, and technical advice has been shared for necessary corrective measures. In the meantime, contact details have been exchanged for critical personnel at the local, regional, and national levels, and school authorities have been asked to ensure that appropriate water storage capacity is in place. And that's it for GIS News today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Jamaica, I can help you protect our citizens.
Jamaica Eye will play a part in increasing your public safety.
Jamaica Eye is part of an island-wide network of camera surveillance systems designed to increase the safety of you, our citizens. If you have a camera system outside your home or office facing a public space, log on to jamaicaeye.gov.jm today. Jamaica Eye, we're all connected. The Ministry of National Security, creating a safer and prosperous Jamaica.
Figures from the Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency, PICA, show that it receives, on average, 3,000 to 4,000 applications for citizenship per year. These are persons who are willing and ready to take on a new identity as a national of a different country. We caught up with a few of them recently at a swearing-in ceremony. Take a look.
Welcome to this, our citizenship swearing-in ceremony. As of today, when asked what is your nationality, they can proudly say, I am Jamaican.
It feels good, it just feels good, you know, to be a Jamaican today.
I'm Charles Opara, originally from Nigeria, but now I'm a Jamaican.
I'm here for 10 years. And today is a milestone, it's a great day. I feel great inside. And I'm looking forward for a greater things to happen.
This step you have taken shows that how much you have embraced Jamaica as your new home. And we look forward to you joining the fold to help us to build our great country with your continued contribution and commitment to Jamaica's growth and development. As Jamaicans know, you have the rights and privileges of any person who is born in Jamaica. Respect it and treat it well.
So how does a person become a Jamaican citizen? The process is either by descendant, marriage, naturalization, or registration. But first, you need to fill out an application form and submit it with all the required supporting documents to the Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency, PICA. Granting citizenship through a descendant means the person has to be an offspring of a Jamaican. The applicant must produce evidence to support this claim.
Then we would review the lineage to ensure that not only that your documents are authentic, but there is really a relationship between you and that Jamaican that you claim to be your foreparent.
If the process is done by way of marriage, the foreign national has to be married to a Jamaican. Commonwealth nationals usually apply through the registration process, and they would have to be living in Jamaica continuously for 5 years. Registration is also done for persons who are born in Jamaica but were not registered at the Registrar General's Department. As for naturalization, a similar accumulated number of 5 years are required for non-Commonwealth citizens who have satisfied the residential requirements and is of good background. Careful assessment is done on each application.
If when we conduct our due diligence, we find that you are unsuitable to be incorporated in the fabric of Jamaica, meaning that you have a bad criminal background, meaning that you are likely to become a nuisance or any of that sort, then the minister who has the responsibility to confer citizenship has the right to say no.
This person is the Minister of National Security.
The minister has the right to refuse an application on the basis of marriage if you have committed an offense for which you were sentenced for more than 2 years. And the same thing for registration and naturalization. We look in your background to see what kind of person are you, what kind of contribution you would be now making should citizenship be granted.
PICA also collaborates with the Ministry of Labour and Social Security to verify information.
With the Ministry of Labour, we work together to ensure that you who come to us for registration as a Commonwealth citizen or naturalization and you are employed, that you are properly operating under the Work Permit Act. So there is no breach of any law for the persons who are considered. They must be good citizens from the start.
And now that their citizenship is official?
I'm lost for words. It feels good. It feels good. Excited. You make you feel like, well, you accomplished something. You're there. It's official now. You could say it in your mind that you're a Jamaican, but now you have the official proofs that I'm a Jamaican.
Today marks a very important day in my life, in the sense that for the past 9 years I've been living and working for the government and people of Jamaica. They have accepted me, having applied for the citizenship. And now I feel at home, fully relaxed, that I can now be with them in the land we love.
I always have a passion for Jamaica. It's like my home. There's something like a DNA connection with Jamaica.
As a resident, I have always tried to better my community, my neighborhood. As a citizen, I will aim at helping out and taking care of this paradise with all the resources at my disposal.
These persons are a representation of the Vision 2030 for Jamaica, which is Jamaica should be the place of choice for people to live, work, raise family, and do business.
A message from the Bureau of Gender Affairs and the Disputes Resolution Foundation, paid for by the UN Women Fund for Gender Equality.
For the upcoming academic year, the Ministry of Education and schools will agree on conditions governing the correct attire for students. Portfolio Minister Royal Reid outlined some of the areas of concern at a parents' sensitization and consultation session in Montego Bay recently. We have the highlights.
So we have signed off on the grooming policy, and the document is available. We'll circulate it across the system, put it on our website, etc. I want to draw some reference to some of the guidelines in relation to hairstyles. The law allows the school to set rules, and that you're required to abide by the rules. And part of the guideline is now to say to schools, they must review their rules to make sure they are in conformity with the Constitution and the laws, and they must engage their stakeholders so that we are all at one what is reasonable in terms of a rule. In relation to hairstyles for boys, a school rule could say the following, that subject to exemption or modification on grounds of religion, health, or other permitted grounds, that the hair shall be clean and neatly maintained, shall be kept in a conventional low cut that is evenly graded around the head, with length kept close to the scalp, away from the face, ears, and eyes, and secured, and if it is long, at the nape of the neck, hair of an intermediate length that cannot conform to these requirements must be covered at all times with approved headwear. I'm saying these are things that the school will have to settle on. We're giving some guidelines on it. You as parents need to be involved with the PTA in agreeing. Hair shall remain in its natural texture and color. That one I can say for sure that I think we can rule on that one. I think I would want to give a clear guideline on that one, yes. We don't, because that's going to create too much contention with people having colored hair and all the kind of distraction. No fashion trends, shaved sides or visible lines or pattern. Too much, again, contention with that, so I would agree with that one. Let us adopt that one. No hairstyles affiliated with known gangs or antisocial cliques or groups, yes? No chemically processed styles. No bleach or dyed hair. Eyebrows for the boys shall not be shaved or have any visible lines or patterns. No beards, moustache or sideburns are allowed. Male students with facial hair must be clean shaven. Or, you know, they can give guidelines that they can keep it. That's one. Or the alternative, they can wear it but it has to be neatly cut. And of course, internal tattoos and body piercing. Students must not have any visible tattoos or body piercing, which I think is a reasonable one. Again, subject to exemptions for religion, health, or other permitted grounds. For the girls now, that the hair equally should be clean and neatly maintained, worn, gathered, or plaits, braids, twists, or locks that are evenly spaced. And by the way, the Rastafarians already are allowed to wear their locks. I think the contingent of those are not Rastafarian, so the guidelines I spoke about is something that, subject to any constitutional direction, that is what we have to agree on. Hair should remain in natural color. The school may agree to permit the following: that no fashion trends, shaved sides or visible lines or patterns, no hairstyle affiliated with known gangs or antisocial cliques or groups, no wigs or hair extensions, no bleach or dye hair. Again, for the girls, there would like to be rules relating to accessories, accessories that are plain, inconspicuous, and in school colors. No more than 2 colors may be worn at any one time. Eyebrows shall not be shaved or have any visible lines of pattern. It also may speak to nails. Nails should be short, not extending beyond fingertips, and clean. No nail polish. And students should not have any visible tattoos or body piercing except a single piercing in the lower lobe of each ear. So we are asking the schools to form their subcommittee, which incorporates student voices, parents, importantly, all the key stakeholders, for us to go through and formulate the rules in accordance with the Constitution and the laws of the country, and for there to be a full stakeholder understanding and knowledge of these rules. And once the rules are developed, sanctions are attached, then we are saying the law says you are required, your child is required to obey the rules of the school.
We continue our highlight of measures by the Ministry of Education to create the right learning environment. Next is provision for students with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
As stated in the name, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is a behavior disorder, and its core symptoms are inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. The disorder, for some unknown reason, is more prevalent in boys than girls. And the disorder is a common disorder, and we have up to 10% of the children being diagnosed as having attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. With students who are diagnosed with this disorder, we find that their inattention causes them in the classroom to not maintain focus for long periods of time. They are often daydreaming. Their hyperactivity causes them to be what they call restless, always fidgeting, squirming, can't sit down. impulsivity. They are the ones who are always blurting out the answers, can't wait to take their turns, and always getting into little squabbles because of the impulsivity. They tend to act and then think about it after.
So how does ADHD affect the student's ability to learn?
Based on some of the characteristic features which I said, we know that it is normal child development allows for the children to be very active and not sitting down. But when it is chronic and when it is affecting their academic life and their social life, then they're usually referred for a diagnosis to be made. So if the inattention is way more than is expected for the level of the child's development, we don't expect a 3-year-old to sit down for 20 minutes. But a 10-year-old should be able to sit down for 20 minutes. So, we look at child development and see what is atypical about the development, and then the children are referred because we see the signals. They're referred for a diagnosis to be made. We embrace an inclusive approach to education. However, we find that with certain disabilities, if they are severe, then the children are not in the regular system, but they are in a special ed institution. Most children with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, they are educated in the mainstream. And so what happens is through the special education unit and the special needs coordinators in the regions, we go out and we do presentations at schools. We also work with parents, so we work with the PTAs, we make presentations, we help parents to understand how is it that I can better help my child at home to cope and to be a success. Also, very importantly, as it relates to national examinations, if the relevant information is sent in, the documentation is sent in with registration, for all national exams, accommodations are granted to children diagnosed with ADHD. So we grant accommodations ranging anywhere from extra time to preferential seating to a prompter, depending on the severity of the diagnosis. And the extra time is a standard of 15 minutes, additional per hour that is given for the children. Preferential seating may be that the child is placed at the front of the room so that the invigilator, having noted on the paper that the child has a challenge, is able to give an eye to ensure that the child is kept on task. In more severe diagnoses, the child is assigned a prompter, and the responsibility of that prompter is solely to keep the child on task. So if the child is daydreaming or wandering off in his mind, just a gentle tap or nudge to help the child refocus.
Don't make diseases spread. Wash your hands with soap and water instead. Wash them regular or use a hand sanitizer. Make sure the germs them dead. Touching your eyes or your mouth or your nose. Wash your hands before you do things like those. After you use the bathroom before preparing food, come on, wash your hand them clean.
As we close today's show, we ask that you stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.